Well, welcome back to my Ford Transit Campervan build, and this time, this episode is a little bit disjointed. I said it wasn't meant to be an episode as such, so it sort of called together a little bit of footage. And basically, it's looking at some of the leaks the van's had, not from the plumbing, but just from, well, the actual metalwork of the van, and things I probably should have fixed a while ago. So this is going to be a little different style of video, but welcome back to the channel, welcome back to my van build, and this one is a short one about fixing one of the issues I should have fixed at the very beginning and now have the consequences because I didn't fix it. That is an air conditioning unit I'm borrowing off my parents, mainly as it's got a dehumidifier feature and there's a little bit of water in the van. So having now lived in the van for about 3 weeks whilst I was selling Christmas trees, I was getting condensation build up from the shower, which is fine, and then the vents were on, so it wasn't too big of an issue. But I took some of the wall off today and found the insulation right behind the metal skin was absolutely soaked all the way at the bottom of the van, which doesn't make too much sense considering hot air rises and you would have thought the majority of condensation would have been forming on the ceiling. So I was figuring out other issues, and I'll show you what I found. For starters, quite a bit of water removed just from the air. So this is the very bottom of one of the sills, and there's quite a substantial amount of water pooling in there, and I've discovered it's from these clips, which is a really common issue on the Sprinters, and everyone seals them up, and I definitely should have done that at the beginning on this as well, because that's where the majority of the liquid's coming in. And all of this surrounding insulation was definitely quite wet. Now these are the main culprits. As you can see in places like this, where there's dirt built around up. You can see in places like this where there's dirt around, the seals have broken there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean these off, clean the panels off, put Sikaflex EBT Plus around there, and then reapply the panels. Very similar to how people fix the Sprinters to stop this issue. I'm just impressed with how much water is coming out of the walls. So a little update on the insulation and sort of the moisture in the walls. Sort of good news, this panel here, which isn't connected to the same sort of wall cavity as such, as there's a pillar in the way as the other ones, which have got the body moulding, the leaking body moulding tabs in. So taking this off and then having a feel around of the insulation there, the metal work on the outside is all dry. In some ways I think that is good news, that the vapour barrier are built generally doing a pretty good job at keeping moisture from the inside of the van, from breathing in showers, outside of the wall cavity. Unfortunately, those body moulding tabs are leaking, so the moisture is coming in from the outside, or not even moisture, actual water droplets is coming in, and because it's generally quite well sealed up, it's having trouble escaping and eventually just making the entire wall cavity moist. So the dehumidifier is still going. I'm going to dry it out and I'm going to fix the body moulding tabs. So I'm just going to stop it there because I've just mentioned the vapour barrier, and if you post online about vapour barriers you get a huge mixed responses with some very flavourable opinions. Effectively going, if you do have one, you definitely need one, and if you don't have it, and if you don't have one, it's going to ruin your van. And then the other side will generally be, if you don't have a vapour barrier, it's going to ruin your van. If you do have a vapour barrier, it's going to ruin your van. The school of thought for having one is it stops the moisture from inside your living area permeating through your insulation to get into that wall cavity where your insulation is, and then when that warm moist air touches the cold metal walls of your van, that condenses. So the idea of having the vapour barrier is it prevents that, or prevents it to a far higher degree. The drawback being, if any moisture does get in there, it's very difficult for it to escape. In my case, the issue is, I suspect, not so much from moisture inside the van getting into the wall cavity, it's the moisture from the body moulding clips and the leaky roof plugs getting into the wall cavity and then not being able to escape. And that is the drawback of having a vapour barrier. The opposite school of thought is not having a vapour barrier, to allow that moisture to permeate the wall cavities in your insulation and allow it to condense onto the walls, but then it's going to be able to evaporate and get out again because you've not got a vapour barrier, which is the other school of thought. I think for my situation, going to be living in here full time and having the shower, which is going to produce a lot of humid air, that if I didn't have a vapour barrier in this case, far more moisture is going to get behind the walls and start pooling and wetting out more than your standard use if it was just going away for a weekend or so. So I think in my situation, having the vapour barrier is going to be a good point, opposed to not having it. However, I do see the benefits of allowing that air to escape. That is the drawback of the vapour barrier, is once that air is moist, it's very difficult for it to get out. Not so much an issue in the summer, because that will eventually get out, but it's more during the winter, when it is colder a lot. So, what I've done is, what I think I'm going to do is, I've noticed that the two wall panel areas behind me, which is my insulated wall areas, which are the ones which are wetted out from all the moisture coming in from the leaking body moulding tabs, is that I'm going to put two vents in those, so I can have those closed, so it's still the vapour barrier, or if I want, I can basically run a fan and pull the air through. Because I noticed running that heater, running that dehumidifier, that pumps out hot air, and I direct that into the wall cavity at the top, and I could see the air movement coming out of the bottom of the wall cavity. So that's going to allow, when I want it to, the wall cavities to breathe. I think that's quite a good thing. So I'm going to probably go with that for the way forwards. I mean, the paintwork on the inside of the van, which is going to get the water condensing on, yeah, it's the same paintwork on the outside of the van, so it's not going to rust there. There only are scratches and edges; those would eventually rust over time. And but the insulation I've used that the insulation board, which isn't affected by water, and I've used the plastic bottle recycling fluffy roof insulation, which again isn't affected by water. It's not going to rot or anything like that. So the insulation I've got isn't affected by water. All the wood areas, all the wood used are treated. So all the cladding is treated. All the wood is treated. So I'm not particularly worried about things rotting or things being continually wet, because I've sort of planned for that.
But no, I would be more worried if it was the same issue, the moisture should be uniformly wet all along there, like the other parts of the van, and not just concentrated directly below this bolt with the roof rack.
Well, it's finally a dry morning, and I've had some spare clips arrive, because every time you try and take these sort of panels off, you always end up breaking a bunch of the clips. So I'm going to clean all these off, put sealant around all of the edges, and then I'm going to put the panel back in all in one go, squish it down, and I hope that does a good bead of that sealant, seals them all up. But you can see where, for instance, that one's probably been all right since it's all clean on the inside, but that one's definitely failed. It's all dirty on the inside, and you can just see on most of them there's just little signs of dirt around. Yeah, definitely an area you want to go a week clean, just to, well, get it all smooth. Some of these are leaking, that's always going to be liquid coming into your vehicle. At least it seems for the rear panel here, it's held on in a completely different way. It's got some sort of vent in it, so I guess I don't need to take those off, which is good. So I haven't bothered cleaning all the metalwork because it's not really necessary. I've just cleaned the areas I'm going to put sealant on. So I'm going to do sealant all around the wheel arch, because those lead inside as well, and then the top and the bottom. The bottom ones actually are external still, but I don't see any harm of applying sealant there to stop the water running down the inside of the sills, the skirts. Probably far too much sealant, but yeah, it's not going to be too much here, is it? Just so you know, I have cleaned out all of these as well and replaced any dirty ones. Although it overlaps in this end, so I should probably have done this one first. Whoops. Yeah. I'm going to run a bead of sealant just along the top edge. I'm not going to seal the bottom edge and the side edges, just so if any moisture does get in from mechanic's gate, just to eliminate when the van's sitting still, water runs down the side. It's not running underneath here and, well, continually using the seals on the plugs. So if any of those fails, it's another line of defence really. In my usual fashion, I'm using sealant. I made a complete mess of it. As for the side door, I've checked the insulation on the inside and I can't feel any moisture or any wetness coming in it. And it seems to be bolted on as well, and I can't seem to pull it off. So for the time being, maybe a regrettable decision down the line, I'm just going to do sealant on the top edge, as that should eliminate the majority of any water which drips down. If I ever do need to take any of these panels off again, I can just run a Stanley knife along the sealant bead at the top, which will break it, and then just pull the panel off. I'm just going to do a sealant bead on this. All being well, that should have eliminated where the majority of the moisture has been coming in and wetting out the walls. Now I'm going to let that cure and continue drying out the actual inside of the van. This was the main reason I think I also had a problem, is the drip of the solar panels runs down the side of the van. And now, because it's sealed up there, runs over the top and drips down, opposed to what was happening is it was filling up that gap and running behind the panel. Well, welcome back to the sequel to the leaking video. The sequel to the leaking video no one ever wanted. So, more leaks. I've had this van parked on my parents' drive for about 10 days about 10 days now, and I drove it yesterday, got to the B&Q to get some more wood to do something. I found quite a nice amount of water coming in. I found water had run down here, there, and the other side over there, which had confused me, and then I remembered back in like 6 months ago when I had the original leak from one of the plugs in the roof, I said I would fix it, and well, I didn't. And since it's on all sides in the front, I'm pretty sure it's the really terrible looking plug which I did put tape on, which is right in the middle. I'm guessing just because I've been in the parked in the driveway, which is at a slight angle, it's all just sort of pulled in one spot. So, time to get on the roof and use some sealant and finally seal all these up, and hopefully that should fix the issue. Hopefully. Right, up here you can definitely see where the water is pooling around. That's the gasket I remade. That's the original gaskets. You can see the one I made definitely had some water pooling around it. So let's dry it off and cover it in sealant. And that one back there is, I think, the main culprit for it as well. Well, let's see what's behind, I think, the worst offender. Good start. Well, that's a loss of water. Yeah, that probably didn't help. This one on this side hasn't fared much better. There's a fair amount of water pooling in it. And same on top of that. Right, that is every single plug and grommet and bolts sealed with an unnecessary amount of sealant.
that's just my temperature sensor over there. Hopefully that should fix any further leaks issues.
When I was having issues with the humidity, this is something that I just got off Amazon. So it's got a temperature and humidity sensor for outdoors, and then the unit itself is a temperature and humidity sensor for indoors. It's amazing when I'm just running the fan and the diesel heater how much this drops down. I only turned them, I've not turned it on the go this morning, but this usually drops down to something like 37 when it could be up at 60, 70, 80 if I've left the van overnight with nothing on. So it's a good little way to sort of keep a log on what's going on humidity wise in the van. So I think that's pretty much going to end the video there. It was things which I could have prevented if I had filled those tabs when I first got the van and I thought about it. And I believe in one of the videos I say I don't think I need to. And same for the roof plugs. When I had the issue at the beginning, if I fixed it then I wouldn't have had the issue now. So if you're going to build a Mk8 Transit, I'd recommend you looked at the ceiling, the roof plugs, and seal those, and the body moulding tabs as well. After I've done those, it's probably been a couple weeks since I filmed the segment of me filling those in. I haven't seen any evidence of the water pooling in the bottom like I saw at the beginning of the video, so I'm pretty sure I've taken care of that. Yeah, but condensation and moisture in the walls in a van, it's always going to be an issue one way or other. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. So it's just living with the annoyance and figuring out ways on dealing with it. So plenty of ventilation and keeping the van warm to help get rid of moisture in the winter is probably a good one. Right, so that's going to be it for this video. So yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram. Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.